Bar brings you a cocktail of stories in English and in Hindustani. I am Richa, and today's story is from Fauji Heart, a collection of human stories with the backdrop of Indian Army. Written for you by Neerja K, these stories will sometimes bring a smile and sometimes a tear, but they will always allow you to peek into the lives of the human beings who are often hidden behind that stiff uniform.
Welcome back to the second part of our story, Dancing Dunes and Eastern Tunes. If you're just tuning in, please make sure to go back and catch the first part for full experience. Soon the engine had cooled down further and the new fan belt was in place. The driver emptied the reserve water from the jerry can into the radiator, but it did not even fill a quarter of it. The sandstorm was closing in, but there was no sign of the trio. The sand around them started dancing, forming small, shifting whirlpools in the air. Then suddenly the mood of the sand changed. It stopped playing around them and became sinister and menacing. The storm was in a full rage now. The flying sand swallowed the sun completely. It was flying angrily in all directions and at great speed. The sand particles hit their faces like sharp pinpricks. They could not keep their eyes open. They could feel the sand entering their mouths and nostrils. Havildar Saikia and the driver sought shelter under the vehicle. They were worried. The storm might lift them along with the sand and bury them alive. Their thoughts went out to the trio. Without the cover of the 1 ton, what would become of them? They muttered prayers for their safety. The crazy, violent dance of the wind and sand lasted for about 40 minutes. Then it stopped, almost as suddenly as it had started. 3/4 of the wheel of the 1 ton were embedded in the sand. There were heaps of sand on the bonnet, and the tarpaulin cover was in tatters. Despite having taken shelter, both the Havildar and the driver were covered by a huge amount of sand. They crawled out with great difficulty from under the 1 ton after the sandstorm passed. The driver immediately set to work. He got out the shovel and started to clear the sand from around the vehicle. It was not an easy task. They drank the last drops of water from the chagal. Now there was no water for them or their vehicle. They could do nothing but wait for the trio to return. The sky had finally cleared, revealing the horizon, but there was no sign of the boys. They could not see a soul. There was no sign of life of any kind, man or animal. The landscape had transformed completely after the storm. It was totally beyond recognition. Thank God for the compass. At least they knew in which direction to keep looking for any signs of their mates. The afternoon went by and they did not return. The sun decided to retire for the night, but they did not return. Night fell and they did not return. They waited, but the trio did not return. Havildar Saikia and the driver were stranded. They were tired, hungry, dehydrated and hallucinating by now. The difference in their ranks did not matter anymore. They were going to die together while waiting for the trio to return. The moon was high up in the sky when Havildar Saikia heard Chandro's melodious voice floating in the air. He somehow managed to force his eyes open and saw them, the 3 of them on the horizon. He tried to sit up but failed. The last thought that crossed his mind before he passed out completely was, "Thank God, they're safe." The driver had passed out long before him. When Havildar Saikia opened his eyes again, he found himself on a cot back in camp. He was on a drip and so was the driver. The search party had found them and brought them back to safety. The doctor said that they were lucky to be alive. But where are the other 3? Are they safe? He asked. The doctor told them that the search was still on for them. In fact, the search for the 3 missing soldiers had been on for 2 days. But another sandstorm had struck on the 3rd day, forcing the search party to temporarily abandon their operations. The search had resumed today, and the CO and the brigade commander were also part of the search party. They were going out in the helicopter. By that afternoon, the CO and the commander had found the 3 soldiers. The 3 friends were at a distance of barely 10 paces from each other, lifeless. Bobby's hand was gripped tightly around the handle of the empty jerry can. It seemed that the storm had unleashed its fury on them halfway between the village and their vehicle. They had been buried alive, deep under the layers of the hot sand. If the second sandstorm hadn't revealed their lifeless bodies, they might have remained undiscovered, buried in their unmarked sandy graves forever. Well, they were laid to rest there forever, but with full military honors along with their music and their friendship. Havildar Saikia still feels responsible for their loss. Very often, he imagines them making music in the dead of the night, singing their eastern tunes to the dancing dunes that took them away, and his heart bleeds silently.
This is Richa signing off. Take good care of yourselves till I'm back with the next story.